Alright, so let's move on to the true, false, not given. Now, the first thing you're going to do is find some good scanning words and kind of see where everything is. You'll see this is a very important step, especially with this one, because there's a few distractors around here that I saw. Anyway, we found good self-control. What would you highlight in each one of these? See if you can go through them and choose your keywords. In this one, I would go with medical problems. Remember, the problem with, one of the many problems with true, false, not given is some of these keywords might not be there. It might be not given. So just bear that in mind. I would go with dolls over there. Maybe girls and boys. Definitely Lego. There's a capital letter there that can help me to scan. And I don't see much over here. Maybe nowadays. Anyway, let's find those. Medical problems, dolls, Lego. A good one, I would actually start with Lego, because then I know the others are before that. So there's Lego over there and over there. Okay, so now I'm looking for somewhere between here. I'm looking for dolls and medical problems. I often encourage people to scan backwards, because sometimes they put distractors in, and the distractors often come first. So scan backwards or forwards, it doesn't really matter, but scanning backwards is often a good strategy. So we're looking for dolls and medical problems. But I would scan backwards over there, and I see dolls over there. So medical problems is somewhere in all of this. Can you see it? I'll give you a clue. It's actually been paraphrased quite heavily, so you don't see medical problems. And you shouldn't waste too much time on this. We have a rough idea of where these things are. There's two over here, one over here, one over here, and that means the last one is somewhere here. So we have a rough idea. It's enough to get started. If you can't see medical problems, then don't worry. Let's look at it later. Don't waste too much time. So let's dive in and start the first one. You should watch my true, false, not given video if you get the chance. Children with good self-control are known to be likely to do well at school later on. Do well at school later on. So the key, the target language for me is to be likely to do well. Maybe even just that word, but it's actually that whole phrase. If they have good self-control, is it likely that they will do well at school later on? Maybe we can also scan for school, it might be there. So we're looking for good self-control. But there's a problem here, and they've tried to trick you in that they have put a distractor there. There's nothing there about good self-control, and there's nothing about school. So you should probably keep on scanning a bit. It's a good idea. That's why it would have been nice if we found medical problems, because we would know where this is. But what they've done here is that they've put a self-control distractor there, and we're actually looking at that one over there. So the way to handle this would have been to read this. We saw self-control, but I don't see anything about school later on and do well at school later on. And that makes me a bit worried. And so maybe scan a little bit more after that, and then hopefully you would have seen that one. They've done, very often they start the true, false, not given with a difficult one, because they know you're going to sit there and waste time on it. So always remember, if you're struggling with it a little bit, then just skip it and move on to the next one and come back to it later. Anyway, if we found good self-control there, that's a bit better. Now we need do well later on. There's nothing there about school. But there is something about do well. Do well is a positive phrase, so we're looking for something positive. And can you see it? And then we're also looking for at school or later on. So do well is over there, and later on is over there. So they don't actually mention school. It's just understood that in the long run means at school. Later on is at school. They don't actually mention likely, but there is a paraphrase for likely, and it's that. It's a very difficult paraphrase. Makes us think that. If we think something will happen, then it means it's likely it will happen. So if you say, will it rain today? And I say, I think so. It means I can say, it's likely. So that's the paraphrase for likely. Very difficult for two reasons. One, distractor over there. Two, school is nowhere. Three, very difficult paraphrase of the target language. And actually four, this is also a distractor for likely. It's also target language. So they really try to make you go and look over there. Nasty trick by IELTS. Anyway, this is our target sentence. So it's likely that given the chance to play will make them more successful at school later on. So therefore the answer is true, but wow, a really difficult one. Some very difficult paraphrase and some distractors, difficult to find the target sentence. But as I said, I've noticed very often they make this first true, false, not given really difficult because they know it's going to eat your time. Right. The way a child plays may provide information about possible medical problems. So I would say that maybe is the target language. It's not very strong. Information we can scan for possible medical problems. Information about possible medical problems. That's what we really want to find. Medical problems. And it's all the way there. A lot to scan for. It wouldn't be a bad idea if you wanted to skip it and just go and do these two, because at least you know where these two are. But let's do it. Can you see medical problems? It's a very difficult paraphrase. And there it is over there. Neurodevelopmental means some development of the brain. Disorder is the problems, and that was your real clue. Such as autism, it's a type of problem. So, what else did we want? We wanted information. Can you see where information is? Important clues is information. The way a child plays may provide information about possible medical problems. Target language is probably may. There is may over there. So the way a child plays, observing children at play, can give us information. Or there's another, may provide information about possible medical problems in the diagnosis of neurodevelopmental disorders. Wow, again, really difficult because they've really paraphrased this a lot. And I actually don't like it so much because she just says she investigated it. She didn't say that this was what she found. But anyway, that's just me. So another really difficult one, but what do you think? The way that children play, observing children at play, maybe, may, important information, important clues, be useful, same thing, in possible medical problems. So it's all there. You can't say false and you can't say not given. It's true again, but wow. I think because these ones were actually quite easy, I think they've made these ones extra difficult. These true, false, not givens. Maybe there'll be some easy ones. Playing with dolls was found to benefit girls writing more than boys writing. That's your target language. But we're also now we found a target sentence more or less. Also scan for girls and boys. Playing with dolls benefit girls writing more than boys writing. Scan, scan, scan. We found dolls. Just scan around, see if there's anything else about dolls, but only this sentence. So here's our target sentence. I don't see dolls anywhere else. Children wrote longer and better structured stories when they first played with dolls. So if the children played with dolls, their stories were better. Scan for boys, scan for girls. I don't see it. They just say generally children. So this one is not too difficult. You should be able to get this one because there's nothing there about boys and girls, and there's more importantly, there's nothing there about more than. They just say children. So we don't know if boys were better than girls or girls were better than boys. So that one's not so bad. That one's not given. because there's nothing there about girls more than boys. Who was better? Right. Children had problems thinking up ideas, had problems, so it's a negative thing. When they first created the story with Lego, they had problems with ideas when they created the story with Lego, when they first created. Target language here, it's not clear. It's just one of those on the verb. Did they have problems or didn't they have problems? So, don't be distracted by that. That's a distractor about dolls. We're talking about here. Children, there it is, first. Children first created their story with Lego with similar results. What is similar results? Similar to what? Similar to this, probably. But let's just read on a bit. Many teachers comment they had always previously had children saying they didn't know. With the Lego, however, there's our friend over there, important information. Not a single child said this through the whole year of the project. Okay, good. So, they actually repeated. This can be your target sentence because then you must find out what similar results was. Similar results was longer and better stories if they first played with Lego. But this can also be your target sentence. It says the same thing. They repeated it. This one is particularly. Not a single child said this. What is this? They don't know what to write about. So not a single child said that they don't know what to write about. So actually all of this is saying that the Lego was positive. That's all you really need to understand here. Not a single child said that they don't know what to write about. It means all the children did know what to write about. So they didn't have problems. It was positive. You could have gone here as well. Similar results. What are the results? Better and longer stories. That's positive. That's not problems. So you could have gone from anywhere over there. They actually said the same thing twice. They did not have problems. Did they have problems? They did not have problems. This was scanning language. It wasn't target language. In this case, this was the target language. Did they have problems or didn't they have problems? No, they didn't have problems. So that's false. People nowadays regard children's play as less significant target language than they did in the past. Scanning language, it's not strong, but nowadays and in the past. That's what we're comparing. This is probably also scanning language. Sometimes the target language and the scanning language are the same. So I would try and find nowadays, in the past, less significant. And we're looking over here. In the 70s when the teaching... So maybe that's in the past. And there's now. Maybe. Importance, that's significant. Recent decades is about the past. We just want something about time. So again, they have put distractors. Which one is it? Is it this one? This is the past. This is now. This is a very strong distractor. People are looking for nowadays. They see now. It's exactly the same. But actually, this was very nasty of them. This whole thing was a distractor. These two. Because we're actually looking at this. You needed to find something about significant and important. Here there's nothing. Intellectual debate, different, nothing about significant. Wow, it's a very, very difficult one. That's your target sentence, unfortunately. I can understand if the students did not find that. This is the Band 8, Band 9 question, so don't worry about it too much. I think this one is the most difficult of all of them. Because that's the target sentence. This means, recently, we have lost the significance, the importance. That means, in the past, it was more significant. And now, it is less significant. It's using this present perfect, and it's using this to say the difference, to compare the past and now. So the importance of play has been lost. It means it is less significant now than it was in the past. What does this say? Yes, it's less significant now than it used to be in the past. So that again was true. Wow, amazingly difficult. Don't be afraid to skip. I think you could have gotten 2 there. I think you could have gotten 8 here and then 2 here, and then maybe you get lucky with 1 or 2 of these other 3, because these 3 were difficult. They made it so difficult because they put a lot of distractors there, distractor there. Secondly, they really paraphrased things like crazy. Neurodevelopmental disorders for medical problems, information for clues. They didn't have the keywords over here. They didn't have school. And then another thing that they've done is that they've given 3 truths, 1 not given, 1 false, which is quite unusual. Usually with 5 questions, I would expect 2, 2, 1. But here they give 3, 1, 1. So they've really tried their hardest to make this as difficult as possible. The way, don't freak out about this, the way to handle this is to remember there will be 1 or 2 easy ones. So find the easy ones. Try the other 3. And then one important thing to remember here is also time. They are trying to eat your time with these 5. So keep your eye on the clock. 20 minutes, 25 minutes. If you haven't found them and solved them, you must move on to passage 2. I've seen many students, they just sit and sit and sit 30 minutes, 35 minutes, trying to find these answers, thinking, stressing out, freaking out. Skip it. Move on to passage 2. You can come back later. If you have time, you can try again. If you don't have time, you can just guess. But as I said, they have really tried to slow you down here and confuse you here. All right, good. So that was passage 1. Not too bad. This question type was nice. This was really nasty, but some really good practice for you. And make sure you watch the time. No more than 25 minutes on this. Let's move on to passage 2, which is coming soon.